this morning?
Sure.
Psalms chapter 30.
Joy comes with the morning. I will exalt thee, O Yah, for thou hast lifted me up and hast not made my foes to rejoice over me.
See, we got to just stay faithful that he. It's funny that start right there. I was just trying to say that's kind of what I was just saying. Like, man, it is a lot happening, but Yah is going to make sure that your foes don't rejoice over you. We just got to do what we got to do to be right with Him. Verse 2.
Hallelujah. O Abba Yah, my Elohim, I cried unto thee, and thou hast healed me.
Yah.
O Yah, thou hast brought up my soul from the grave. Thou hast kept me alive, that I should not go down to the pit.
And we didn't even know, speaking for myself, I know some of you, your stories are similar. We didn't even know about being Israel and the covenant and living it out and what Yah had presented to our ancestors that extends to us, and just the detail of reading the Bible, quote unquote, correctly. And He brought our souls from the grave because we were living under doctrines of death that still aren't just over our people, but over the world today. He kept us alive for this moment so that we should not go down into the pit, and for no other reason. That's why we have to do all that we can to pay this forward and what He's done for us. Verse 4.
Sing unto Yah, O ye saints of his, and give thanks at the remembrance of his holiness. For his anger endureth but a moment. In his favor is life. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning.
Hallelujah.
And in my prosperity, I said, I shall never be moved. Yahuwah, by thy favor, thou hast made my mountain to stand strong. Thou didst hide thy face, and I was troubled. I cried to thee, O Yah, and unto the Elohim I made supplication. What profit is there in my blood when I go down to the pit? Shall the dust praise thee? Shall it declare thy truth? Oh, hear, O Yah, that I have mercy upon me. Adonai, be thou my helper. Thou hast turned from me my mourning unto dancing. Thou hast put off my sackcloth and girdled me with gladness.
Have mercy upon me and be thou my helper. And that goes to you, Obadiah, as we were talking in Antioch. To my father who's just come here, and all of us, we have to remember that the Most High is our helper. There's only so much we can do. It's only so much man will ever do. But as long as we have Abba Yah as our helper, then anything is always possible. Verse 11 again.
Thou hast turned me from my mourning unto dancing. Thou hast put off my sackcloth and guided me and girdled me with gladness.
That's what we coming into. It's a lot of death around. It's a lot of anguish. It's a lot of sadness. But as we follow Torah more and more, even with all of that going on, He's going to turn this mourning into dancing. Because at the end of all of this, as the scriptures say, blessed is he who endures to the end. I paraphrase that. I don't know if it says it exactly like that. But at the end of all of this is the kingdom. At the end of all of this is, for descendants of slaves, true freedom. Verse 12.
To the end that my glory may sing praise to thee and not be silent. O Yah, my Elohim, I will give thanks unto thee forever.
For all things. to the end that my glory may sing praise to thee. My being will give you praise. I will not be silent because I will acknowledge you in all things and everything that you've done for us, whether it be the food on our table, the clothes on our back, the shelter, the roof over our head, healthy children, um, good health, um, whatever it may be, for closing doors that we didn't need closed, for opening doors that we didn't know we needed opened, for positioning us to not go through certain things that we don't even know that's down the line. We will praise thee and not be silent, O Yah, my Elohim. I will give thanks unto thee forever. And we know in the book of Hebrews, it says that to give thanks to Yah is the fruit of our lips. It's the truest offering that we can really offer, because we really can't offer Yah anything. You really can't offer Yah any money because all the riches of the world is his. Even the sacrifices of the animals, that's really not a true offering to Yah because all the animals are his. The offering is acknowledging the things that he's done in our lives and making sure that we always give him the glory. We always praise his name, and we always let people know that it was by the will of the Most High Yah and never by our own hands. Never get too cocky or overconfident in the things that we've done. Now he's given us the ability to do things, but we have to always acknowledge that it was he who gave us the ability to do things.
Hallelujah.
Weeping may endure for a night, but joy may come in the morning. That's kind of what today is about. Hallelujah, Obadiah. Thank you for the reading.
Praise Yah.
Praise Yah. As we humble our hearts and our minds and we go into prayer once again, it's just say, Todah Rabbah, and thank you, Abba Yah, for all that you've done, for allowing us to see another Shabbat, for blessing our families and keeping us together, Father, and for showing us the correct way forward, for being patient and merciful with us as we may stumble. We do stumble. We have stumbled. But as we repent and we truly try to change some things and work on ourselves and work on our households, if that be the case, or pass down your Torah, your truth, your instructions to our children, we just thank you for the patience, Abba Yah, for helping us to do such a thing, to make a change. For change is difficult, but we know that through you, anything is possible, even change. We ask you, Father Yah, those of us that do have children, that speak to our children, to put the words in our mouth and give us the patience, give us the understanding to be able to, in some manner, deal with our own children the same way that you've dealt with us, with patience and with mercy, but also with a strong hand when needed. We pray, Abba Yah, on this Shabbat that your word will increase, we will decrease, that your message will be heard by all those who hear it, to give you the glory and not men. And that through all things, Abba Yah, you continue to help us and guide us, that you continue to keep your hand over Obadiah and the surgery on his eyes, that you keep your hand over my father and his wife, that they endure in all situations and everything that you have put before them. Same for Ania and Angel and Shelly and Ariel. Same thing for my Patrick and his family, Father Yah, that you just keep, that you keep, make sure that we remember that we need your help, and that in your grace you always and continue to fulfill your word in our lives as we strive to be better citizens in your kingdom, to be better members of your family, and to be better occupants in your house by learning the rules of the house, by learning the instructions that you have put forward, and allowing us, Father Yah, to move in a manner that's honorable and pleasing to you. In the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, we pray all things. Hallelujah, 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 and amen.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. So be it.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
You know, Shelly, I was looking at the New Testament in Hebrew. I had a question for you. I'm going to have to make sure you remind me that so I could show you something. I was trying to get some understanding on that. As you see, I definitely could not read this, but it was something in here that I was trying to get to. because I was wondering about a name. What would it be translated as in here? But we'll get back to that. Hallelujah. Shabbat Shalom. Mama Speed, my apologies for this morning, man. I was knocked out.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. How was the reading this morning?
It was really good.
I'm sure you do a really good job. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. I pray, continue to pray for me that it continues to get better,
Hallelujah. Always. Always. You're in a privileged position, Nicole, to have an impact on young Israel every day.
I sent you my receipts, so you got it.
I did get them. I'm going to read your receipts. I thought that was funny, too. Like, what does she mean, her receipts from Shabbat? But hallelujah. Acts chapter 14. We ended 13 with, right. Shaul was in, where did he give this speech? He was in Antioch, which was in Turkey, or at least that's what they say here. And he gave a speech to the Israelites, and at the end it said, when the Gentiles heard this, they were glad and glorified the word of Yah, because the Israelites there was kind of like, yeah, we believe the Pharisees ain't no Messiah, and you used to be around here persecuting folks. A lot of these disciples around us now is because you ran them here, and now you trying to act like this and that. And I could just hear our people being naysayers to his change, to Paul trying to change. It says, and the word of Yah was published throughout the region. By Paul being in this area speaking to folks, people are documenting it. And the word is being established. The word is being published, as it says here in this region. And what we're seeing in Acts 13, 12, 11, maybe going back further, is Yah is showing you in the Acts how the word began to spread further than just Judea and Galilee and the different spots around, where the Gadarenes were, or where Samaria, where we know the woman at the well was an Israelite living in Samaria. He's showing us how the word began to spread worldwide. And it's always interesting when I think about this, because we know today that the Bible, they say, is the most, which I don't know if it should be sold, but the Bible is, supposedly the most sold book in the world. It's the most published book, I should say, maybe not sold. And this is the beginning of that, the Bible being the most published book in the world. If it wasn't for these, and I shouldn't say if it wasn't for, because y'all could always choose anybody else, but by these disciples, Shaul, Barnabas, and all the other folks, Timothy, when we come to him, and James and Kepha, and just everybody, all the disciples, everybody who Yah called for this moment, their obedience, we're seeing the beginning of Torah, the Bible, the instructions from the Most High, being the most published book in the world. And then in verse 50 said, but it says Jews, but it really is the Israelites, because it ain't just Jews here. You got Grecians here, which they were saying were the Hellenistic Israelites who've been spread. Some of Yehuda has already been spread through the Roman Empire at this time, which is still in control of everything here. It's control of the quote unquote known world, which I really don't kind of like that saying now, because that's a European thought process. Rome was in control of the known world. It was people down in India and China and all that then. And they knew it was there when you study like Silk Road and trading with India back then. They knew it was folks in them areas, but because it wasn't under Rome from this European historical aspect, that wasn't the known world. Y'all knew them folks was there. You couldn't just conquer them folks. Just like y'all knew folks was in Ethiopia. You couldn't just conquer them folks. The Romans never made it any further than Egypt. The Ethiopians fought them off, and there's documents of the wars that they fought with them. But the Israelites stirred up the devout and honorable women and the chief men of the city. So the Israelites was like, okay, we're going to stir up not only the Israelites who ain't feeling this, but also the Gentiles, the devout and honorable women, the chief men of the city, which would have been not necessarily Roman because we're in Antioch, but, you had high-ranking Greeks here and I don't even know what all people, probably some other high-ranking Edomites would be here from the line of Herod, which has been given a position with the Romans. It says, and they raised persecution against Shaul and Barnabas and expelled them out their coast. They ain't want them here, kicked them out. But they shook off the dust of their feet. He ain't take it personal. Shaul and Barnabas said, look, we came down here, we spoke the truth, we hollered at some folks. It was some folks filters, it was more folks didn't. You know, they kicked us out the city. It's all good. We dust off our feet and we gonna keep it moving there. Iconium. And the disciples were filled with joy and with the Ruach HaKodesh. We came and did a job. And I think it's even a lesson in that even as even as you know, some of us may get rejected, or people may not pick up things as fast as we want them to, or they may just be outright against some things. We still should be filled with joy in the Ruach HaKodesh and dust off the shoes of dust off our feet, knowing that we did a work. We just got to make sure that we go do that work the right way with patience and compassion, with humility and humbleness. We got to make sure we go do that work, you know, in proper fashion. But we also can't be discouraged if don't nobody want to hear. We got to dust off our feet and keep it moving and be filled with joy. Yah has allowed us to go and speak his truth and to do a work. And keep folks in prayer, knowing that once that seed is planted, Yah can always bring somebody back around. I'm sure you all have had situations where you've talked and talked and talked to probably somebody you love. And over time, Yah chipped away at it. And that same person now, they may not even be all the way on board, but they got questions now and they're more curious about some of the things. And that's always you know, I look for the simplicity in a lot of things. I understand it, everything, but I also understand in looking for the simplicity in things. Just to have that door open to me is the ultimate blessing, because once that door is open, then now is the opportunity to make a mark and to give Yah the proper glory. So it may not be as wide as we want it to be, because we love our people and we don't want to see anybody, you know, be judged in a certain manner if that's the judgment of a person, because Yah says himself, you don't know how I'm gonna judge nobody, right? You don't know what I'm going to say. And the judgment is going to be different from each person because it's going to be based off what you knew, right? I ain't gonna judge a person for not what they did not know. I heard y'all said that earlier on the call. He told the prophets a lot of time, go speak to these people here. I know they're not gonna listen to you, but I need you to speak to them. That way, when I judge them, they can't say they didn't know. So the judgment will be the same, but not the process, but the verbiage of judgment from Yah to each individual is going to differ from each individual based off of what you knew. And he knows what you know. And he knows the decision you made in your heart based off of what you knew. Yah knows. Even if we don't know, Yah definitely knows that you said in your heart, I don't want to hear none of that mess. But you heard. Always remember, when you go speak this Torah, these instructions, this truth to people, whether they hear you or not, or whether they honor what you're saying or not, if they've acknowledged to you that they've heard, then they've heard. And you knew. You didn't want to hear that, but you knew. So in Acts 14, as Shaul goes on from here, in Acts 14, as Shaul moves on from here, it says, and it came to pass in Iconium, image-like, so this is probably a place where they have a lot of idolatry taking place here. It came to pass in Iconium that they went both together into the synagogue of the Israelites. Notice, and this is kind of what Christianity have you throwed off. Like Paul was just out here preaching to Gentiles, and he wasn't worried about, because the covenant was taken from Israel and it was given to the church, which way back then, even though we have a history of knowing Christianity was not even created until 325 AD or around that time, they will have you believe that, Paul was speaking to the church, which were just Christians, any old body. No, Paul was not. When you read Acts, you notice Paul was going to the synagogue of Israel. It wasn't just Judah. Judah didn't run every synagogue everywhere. That's just, I actually believe that in the New Testament, the reason why this word Jews is used so much because you have a people in Israel claiming that they the tribe of Judah, and they have put a monopoly on this has been all about us. But it was never, you all know that when you read Torah, the covenant was never always all about Judah. Granted, Judah was said that they would be the kingly line. Granted, Judah was said that the Messiah would come through the line. But Judah always knew he was just first amongst equals. He was no more, he had no more stake to the covenant than Dan and Gad and Asher and Zebulun and Naphtali, Levi. He had no more stake than Simeon and Reuben. He had no more stake than Joseph and Benjamin. He had no more stake than any of them. They were in the synagogue of Israelites, and it was all Israelites. It was a collection of Israelites in these synagogues, not just Benjamin, not just Judah, not just Ephraim, which is the descendants of Joseph. And it says, so he spake that a great multitude, both of the Israelites and also the Greeks. Yeah, those were Greeks in there. Now remember, it said the Grecians were the Hellenistic Israelites when they were talking about the ones that were becoming disciples down in Jerusalem, of which Paul helped disperse from Jerusalem, right? When he was running with the Pharisees, he was killing some, having some thrown in prison. He ran them all off, but it said they were really scared of the disciples because they seen the power that Kepha and John and the ones who they knew had walked with the Messiah had. The word here for Greeks is just Hellen. By extension, a Greek-speaking person, especially a non-Jew. We're talking about Gentiles. These ain't them Hellenist Jews. These ain't them Hellenist Israelites. These ain't these, Negroes who they got too caught up in thinking they American. I was around some Negroes who was too caught up thinking they American the other day. And I didn't really say much. I just listened to them, and I'm like, man, the doctrine really got a hold on our folks. But I got a feeling that conversation is going to come up again with me and them Israelites in a better setting for it to be poked at a little bit. Verse 2, but the unbelieving Israelites, remember, these Israelites in these synagogues, they in there on Shabbat, they keeping Torah, they keeping Passovers, they ain't eating pork, they ain't eating no catfish. Nah, these people ain't under Christianity where in Jesus' name they just praying over any meat is clean. No. They not, when it says that they were unbelieving, they agree with Paul on that. Paul is up here telling them we got to keep Torah, but we do it in the name of Yahushua or Yahusha or Yeshua or however you say his name in Hebrew, which all of those different words in Hebrew means Yah salvation, which I think that's incredible. Yeshaya, you hear some people call the Messiah Yeshaya. Yeshaya means Yah salvation in Hebrew. All of those words do. But the unbelieving Israelites who believed in Torah, but were basically what we would call today a non-messianic. They didn't believe that the Messiah was Yahushua. They stirred up the Gentiles, the Greeks who were around. As I said, it was a lot of Greeks who believed, right? And we see Gentile, a foreign, non-Jewish, pagan, Gentile, heathen, and this really is like, just so you all know, this really is as you see, this reads really clear. And I guess because we have the definitions of where they took these words from in the Greek, as they try to tell us that the New Testament was in Greek, but this was really with the New Testament that they say was in Greek is really translated from Hebrew to Greek, and they allowing that to stick. Be that as it may, though, right? The reason why I break down these words, Greeks and Gentiles, and where these words from to see the Grecians meant Hellenistic Israel, because you have a slot of people who, ironically, it just like in Christianity, where it's like Paul was just speaking to Gentiles and it was all about the church. On the other side of that, you have everywhere it says Gentile in Greek, it's talking about Israelites and nobody else has it. And that's just not true. Now, if you want to believe that, that's your business, but that's just not true. The unbelieving Israelites stirred up the Gentiles. Not, these ain't tribe of Judah stirring up. For one, somebody from the tribe of Israel would never even allow somebody from the tribe of Judah to call them an Israelite, because no matter how they looked at it, they knew that the covenant was equal opportunity to all Israelites, anybody from the sons of Yaakov. No, they stirred up. And now, on the same token, I don't know if these Gentiles or these Greeks is white folks at this time. You got a lot of different folks living in these areas. This might not necessarily be all white folks either. We ain't gonna say that either. It may not be all black folks either, though. You know, this a collection of folks living in these areas. The unbelieving Israelites stirred up everything non-Israelite and made their minds evil, affected against the brethren. Who is the brethren? For one, Paul is from Benjamin. He ain't even from Judah. So based off the theory that the Jews is the tribe of Judah and every Gentile is an Israelite, then now you're saying that Paul is a Gentile, and Paul for damn sure ain't no Gentile. Paul going amongst the Gentiles. And when Paul speaks to the Gentiles, he ain't speaking to them like he talked to the Israelites. When he talks to the Israelites, he's saying brethren, children of Abraham. You got to be real particular with the words of Paul. When he's speaking to the Gentiles, he's saying, you Athenians be wild. It's a difference. The Israelites stirred up the Gentiles who were believing. The ones who didn't want to believe in Hamashiach. More than likely, they went and told them Gentiles, y'all believe in all these other gods. He trying to say that don't matter. And he's blaspheming Zeus and Caesar, and which Caesar at this time is considered to be a god himself. And he made their minds evil against the brethren. And I noticed just in the first two verses here, these same folks, these Israelites in these areas, they used to cheer Shaul when he came through this area. Here comes Shaul. He gonna get these crazy Negroes around here talking about it's a Messiah done been here. He gonna round them up and they gonna take them to Jerusalem. They gonna stand trial, and I hope such and such get stoned, and I hope such and such go to jail. And we see a pattern, because we just read in the last chapter, this happened in Antioch, this happened in Perga, this happened in Dirty. I believe that was the name of the one spot. This happened when he was on Cyprus. This is happening. Everywhere Paul go, he's getting this same reception. And he's learning that these same folks who used to be my friends and love me, when they come to this word, these people be at my head now about it. The same way some folks who used to love you, when they come to this word and the difference of this word, turn their back on you, shun you, don't want to hear from you. Same way, Paul is going through that. And it's starting to become a pattern. And we see this pattern all too much, even still today. But it's starting to become a pattern. Paul got to reap what he sowed. We, all of you, we got to reap what we sow. Even with the light from Damascus being on us, and we've been awakened and we've been blind for 3 days. And then when our eyes were opened back up by a disciple, we knew Torah, we was on fire for Yah with Shaul, which is Paul is. He still got to reap what he sowed. Paul, you the reason why a lot of these Israelites, the ones who believed, are here. You ran them out of Jerusalem with these same folks now who running you out of these spots, coming to speak to them Israelites who you ran out of Jerusalem. We all got to reap what we sow. And Paul is reaping what he sowed. But what we're going to see on Paul is we don't blaspheme. We don't lose focus. We don't fall off track with Yah. Even in reaping what we sow, we're going to continue to get up and go do the work, knowing that that's the tribulation that will come. Long time, therefore, bold, they speaking boldly in Yah. Paul's like, I see y'all, hey, the ones, these Israelites and these Greeks, these heathen Gentiles, as the breakdown says here, that believe, man, we gonna still sit here and chop up the word with them. I don't care because y'all cut y'all eyes at me, and some of y'all who I used to be cool with don't want to speak. I don't care. I don't care. You know what, Mama Speed? I can't even lie. A lot of this acts, as I read it and I hear Paul talking, I just see him in my mind walking through here doing this. A lot of this, what Paul do, reminds me of you. Just things that I've heard you say to me. A lot of this, Shaul, reminds me of your story. I can't even front. As I've been reading through Acts, all I can hear is that's Mama Speed down there on campus somewhere telling them folks, what do the scriptures say though? I can hear Paul saying that to these Israelites. I really care. Long time, therefore, bold, they speaking boldly. He didn't care because they felt the way he kept doing what y'all told him to do. He had to reap what he sowed. Paul would have understood that though. which gave testimony unto the word of his grace. Look, and granted signs and wonders to be done by their hands. Paul telling the same folks who telling him we don't want to hear about no Messiah and blah, blah, blah. And you a hypocrite. You wasn't even feeling these folks. Now you one of them and we ain't feeling you. And Paul telling the folks who saying that, you still an Israelite under the covenant and y'all done extended grace to you too. Even if you don't want to feel it. And just think, it's a lot of people around us we've talked to or with, didn't want to hear this, didn't want to hear that. And we need to make sure that they know that too. Yah has still extended grace to you too. That's why we're able to stay, especially now the way folks is dying. Every day is truly a blessing. Every day has always been a blessing. But for myself, lately, I've really been seeing every day is truly a blessing. People are dying. A young lady, 35, just died up here around me that I knew her family from thyroid cancer is what I heard. Father, forgive me if I'm wrong. Every day is truly a blessing. And that grace has been extended even to those who don't want to hear what you're talking about. And granted signs and wonders to be done by their hands. It's signs and wonders that are done by you all hands. It may not look like how we see this in Torah, but it's certain things that you do that's a sign and a wonder to people who watching you. And this is what Paul and them stayed there teaching, even though it was Israelites and they done stirred up some of these Gentiles, Greeks, Edomites, Elamites. I could just think of some of the other folks who might be in this land. Khazarians is probably in this area at this time, who go on to believe that they the Ashkenazi Jews or the 13th tribe, as some of them have coined themselves. They around, as they call them, gypsies and all of that in this Eastern European plain today. All of that's around. Germanic folks are around. The Franks, which become the French at this time, are more than likely around. You know, you could break down Europe in a tribal way. The sons of Gomer, these folks are around. Magog, people from Belarus, think about the area now. Ukrainians, whatever that may be. All these folks are around when they say Gentiles. These ain't just a certain part, Moors. It's Moorish folks out of Africa. Black folks who, you know, Africa believe in a bunch of different gods when you go through their tribes. They around. They around. We know the Moors around because if you read books about this time, it were the Israelites who had been spread into these areas that the Moors started to come through, who helped them acclimate to what these Gentiles were doing here. The Moors are around. Moor meaning black, just basically Africans already who went on to have a lot of power. You had kings and queens that were black in Europe, quote unquote, 600, 700, 800 AD, even further in than that. They went on to have power in these lands. That don't mean that they were all Israelite just because their skin was black. Some of them fell under the Gentile too. And Paul is letting these Israelites know, you can side with these folks all you want, stir them up against me, but I'm still going to stand strong and do what y'all told me to do. And that grace still extends to you. Verse 4, but the multitude of the city was divided. For the word of truth, the city was divided. But what did Hamashiach say? He said, I came to divide. I'm going Hamashiach said himself, for this word about me, I'm going to divide household. I'm going to divide families. And we see, because remember, Paul is telling the Israelites what they already doing. Keep Torah. But we doing it in the patience or in the name of Yahushua, who came and died to reestablish the connection and the covenant with us, with Yah. We had fell off. The Pharisees doing wrong. He's speaking from example. I know we was doing wrong. I was with the Pharisees doing wrong. And it divided the city. And part held with the Israelites and part with the apostles. And the apostles at the time, because this ain't Kepha and John and the disciples that walked with a Mashiach, they're in Jerusalem. Remember, we seen last chapter, John then went back after seeing what they did with Buddy over Bar Jesus, who was calling himself the son of Yahusha, lying, with Sergius Paulus. John had to go back. Yahakanah was like, I got to go tell Kepha and all them what y'all up here doing, Paul. Y'all, hey, you putting in real work. I see the power y'all done put in you. You done looked at a man and made him blind. Right? And part held with the Israelites and part with the apostles, which is Shaul from Benjamin. I don't even think it tells us what tribe Barnabas is from. And these other disciples that Shaul, a couple chapters back, said he helped to spread this multitude that was flocking around, keeping them in Jerusalem. They had to go. They're in these parts. Verse 5. And when there was an assault made, both of the Gentiles, so now they done stirred up these Gentiles, these non-Israelites, to attack an Israelite. Ain't that what we do today? What they call it, the gatekeepers, right? We get a little juice with these Gentiles that run America. And what's the first thing we do? We keep the other Negroes out. And then as the Gentiles tell us what they want us to do, and the imagery, we need you to put this on you black folks. Here, right here in America, the same thing happened. We need you to going back to slavery. That's what the house Negroes did. Go back there and tell them field Negroes, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do this. This is what they did up here. But also you had some Israelites with their rulers to use them despitefully and to stone them because Paul is up there saying, I was wrong. I've been rounding up disciples who've been preaching in the name of Yahusha or Yahushua. I was wrong. They was right. He is the Messiah. I seen it. The light went on me in Damascus. I was blind. He telling that testimony to everybody. Matter of fact, he probably ain't even got to tell that testimony no more. By now, that testimony is known through the land because Paul was too much of a figure. Paul was the face of, you'll go to jail preaching up here in the name of Yahushua. Only people who could get away with that is the disciples. Because we didn't try to put them in jail, stone them, do this. It ain't work. So in Jerusalem, in Jerusalem, the Pharisees is like, let them be. If it ain't of Yah, it'll fall apart, but let them be. Because the more we put them in jail and they magically get out, the more that we try to do this and do that and nothing ever happened to them, we ain't doing nothing but helping their word grow down here in Jerusalem. Everybody else, though, stump them out. You ain't the disciples. And these Israelites is fighting that. Paul, you a hypocrite. You going against the game. This is what we've been on, and they tried to get him stoned. And Paul and them were aware of it. They were aware. And they fled into Lystra and Derbe, again, cities of Lycaonia, and unto the region that lieth round about. Paul and them had to leave again. Paul and them left from quite a few spots. That's what I'm saying. We seen a pattern with Paul. These same folks who were just really cool with you, Paul. These same folks who were just all about Paul. We see you, Shaul. They lying. He ain't the Messiah, and the disciples stole his body. This is the story that's being told. He didn't really raise from the dead. The disciples went and stole his body from the temple. So now you got some who like, well, how did he get past the Romans and all them guards that was outside the temple? By some trickery. By some trickery. He ain't did that. No, Paul, you know better than that. You've been helping us round that type of talk up. Paul, you know that ain't cool. Them same folks who used to be with him is now running Paul away. You got to go. And there they preached the news. As we know, the gospel to just simply be the news. And there they went to announce the good news. Paul, it's a pattern with you, Paul. Everywhere you go, ain't nobody feeling you, Paul. Ain't nobody feeling you, Paul. These same folks who used to be your homies, Paul. And Paul, I know I got to reap what I sow. I'm the reason why I'm a big part of the reason why these situations in these different spots outside of Jerusalem look like this. But I still got to go up here and be bold for the word of God. That's what I've been called to do. These Israelites who then got with these Gentiles to go against other Israelites also remind you of the book of the Maccabees. You remember in Maccabees, it was Israelites who was siding with the Greeks. We eat that pork. Y'all can sacrifice in there. Remember the Greeks was like, matter of fact, put away all that all of that Torah and instruction. Let's just make this one law of our laws, the law of the land, and everybody gonna be good. And it was Israelites who sided with that. Who was probably telling them, man, there's some Israelites in the woods, man. They live in the woods. They still be gathering in Torah and all that down there. And the same Greeks who we amongst here was going to kill Israelites in the book of Maccabees for this. In this same manner. But Paul understanding, he got to reap what he sow, as we understand it. Just because you done came in the Torah, you still got to reap what you sow. It's things that's been done, said, that have not been rectified. But in reaping what you sow, we got to do it like Paul and stay focused on the goal of the kingdom. Even in reaping what we sow, and we see how hard it get. Like, ain't nobody even trying to stone us. Like, I mean, I guess spiritually somebody is, but these people was like, we killing Paul when we catch him. And Paul still was going on, and he's enduring to the end. And he's our example now. That as we reap what we sow from these lives, that some of us has, our real life may be different. She's being raised in Torah. So, I mean, her life on the outside of that won't look like mine and Shelley's. It's things that I'm still reaping what I sow when I come around folks. I'm having to correct things. I seen a young bull one day. He was like, man, I remember we was young. You told me blah, blah, blah. And it was like the wildest thing you could tell. And he was like, I done lived my life based off that. And I had to humbly tell him I was wrong for telling you that. And I had to tell him, no, we the people of this book. And I realized that we got to do better amongst each other. And now I have to tell you that, and he was, he was kind of vibing to it. He wasn't hearing it like he heard what I told him before when we was in the streets. But I had to reap what I sow. I had to correct that. And he probably ain't even feeling me. He probably somewhere now like, man, Dre Peter got soft out here. I got to reap what I sow. But I still got to endure and go do what's right. And this is what Paul is showing us as this stuff is going on in these cities, as well as other things. But this is what I took from this. Verse 8. And there sat a man at Lystra, somewhere he done went to, impotent in his feet. So we got a man impotent in his feet, being a cripple from his mother's womb, who never had walked. This man never walked. The same heard Shaul speak, who steadfastly beholding him and perceiving that he had faith to be healed. The same heard Shaul speak, who steadfastly beholding him, perceiving that he had faith to be healed. He had faith to be healed. That's a big part of a blessing of this. We got to have the faith that we can be healed. Obadiah, stay faithful. You can be healed. Y'all ain't gonna let nobody do nothing with you that ain't supposed to be. And he said with a loud voice, stand upright on thy feet. And he leaped and walked. Somebody who had never walked in his life. When you have an accident or something, right? They have to teach us to walk again. Right? I remember when I got the 14 screws and the 2 plates in my ankle, I had to go to physical therapy. They had to teach me how to walk again. When the word of Yah speak on you, ain't nobody got to teach you how to walk. He leaped and he walked. He ain't never walked in his life, so how he know to walk? Even a baby got to learn to walk. He leaped and he walked. And when the people saw what Paul had done, they lifted up their voice, saying in the speech of the Lycaonian. I thought that was interesting, considering that all of this is under the rule of Rome. It says Lycaonistically. That is, in the language of the Lycaonians, in the speech. They had another language that they were speaking, and it shows you the iron mixed with the miry clay here, right? This final beast would be a multitude of people and languages and all of these things. And we see an example of that. Although Rome is over this, these people spoke a different language than just Greek or Latin, however you would describe it. I'm not the linguist of this era, right? But when the people saw what Paul did, they lifted up their voice in them folks' languages. But the problem with this is they start saying the gods are come down unto us in the likeness of men. It's always the gods with these folks, right? Reminded me of America. The gods. All miracles today are likened to something other than Yah, just like these Lycaonians just did, right? Those climate change. Or, we give all glory to medicine, surgery, right? Something happened in the sky and it's like, this wind pocket hit the sun and it gave off an aurora of light, really? Or when you listen to sports talk, what does the sports talk about? The football gods, let it be a beautiful day to be football. And the basketball gods that allow it to be no injuries. Or the rap gods. When this Kendrick Lamar and all that Drake talk was going off, all of these podcasters, I was hearing them say, the pod gods have blessed us with a diss record to break It's a God for everything today. That we liken everything that we consider a blessing, whether it's a blessing or not, too. The new God is AI. AI is going to make it where we don't got to do this, we don't got to do that. Technology, chips, phones, right? Apple is God to some people. Android is God to some people. There is a God of everything, and that's what they said. The gods are come down to us in the likeness of men. And they call Barnabas Jupiter. They call Barnabas Jupiter, right? Oh no, I'm in the wrong spot. Jupiter, Zeus. How many movies you done seen about Zeus? They was calling him Zeus. Think about that. They was calling Barnabas Zeus. How many movies and cartoons and stories? How many times have you heard the story of Zeus told? Zeus got a bunch of kids. Think about the story of Zeus. Zeus is a god who will take earthly women and have kids, of which we call demigods, right? Which are part God, part human. What is a demigod in the Bible? If Zeus is a god and live in the sky and he coming to earth and taking women as children and having demigods as I always thought this was interesting.
Wouldn't it be Nephilim, Mark?
It would be Nephilim. Genesis chapter 6, verse 4, they would be the giants in the earth in those days. And also after that, when the sons of Elohim, which they would be trying to liken Zeus to, maybe he was a son of Elohim the whole time, came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them. And the same became what? The mighty men which were of old, men of renown. Who are those mighty men of old today? Children of the gods, Hercules, Achilles. Y'all done heard the stories. They done made movies about it. They make cartoons about these folks. They make comic books about these folks. These are our children's, these have been our superheroes, Daniel. The gods. This is what they likened them to. You know, this is what they likened them to. Zeus. He was Zeus. Paul was Mercurius. Who was Mercurius, Paul? Hermes, which I think he is. No, I think his mother is a so-called goddess. He isn't the child of an earthly mother. But this is what they called them folks. They like, there's Zeus and Hermes because he was the chief speaker. We liken everything today to these gods in a different way. But we live in a world that likens everything to these gods. No, in a mainstream way, I should say, because we giving glory to Yah. But in a mainstream way, everything is to the gods, whether it be AI, whether it be technology, whether it be climate change, whether it be so on and so forth and so on, right? Baphomet for the Masons. As they talk about the Illuminati, and if you were to ever look into Aleister Crowley and Jack Parson and L. Ron Hubbard, they were all about the morning star, the son of light. Same difference with these secret societies. Everything is about these guys today. And what did Paul do? I had to say all of that because Paul's reaction to this, I can see some of you having the reaction to this today if you was doing this and somebody was like the gods and Paul was, I can hear you carry out. No, I ain't no Zeus. No. Hey, I can hear some of y'all today. Somebody like, how did you, man, you must be the son of, no, Paul, go over there. He like, hold on. No, we ain't, no, this ain't that. Don't like it. That's what you all do now when people get to doing too much, trying to put this on you because you got a little knowledge in Torah. Because, knowledge go a long way. People be considered gods just because they knew something. I believe in Egypt, that's how you got like the corn. In Egypt, they got the corn god and the wheat god. And I see that just as somebody who knew how to plow his field better than everybody. He became the wheat god and they put him on the wall. 4,000 years later, we see him on the wall and his folks like, see, he bigger than everybody else around him. He must have been an alien. See how them stories get out of hand? See how them stories can get out of hand when you get to doing that? We have made wickedness common. As Antioch said, these mighty men of renown, these Nephilim, these demigods, we have made that common where that's celebrated. We watch that. We are entertained by that. Then the priest of Jupiter. Go ahead, Antioch. It's on you, Coty.
I just wanted to say, like, what if, like, you just sparked a thought, what if, like, when we're seeing all these hieroglyphs of people with birds and different animals, what if they were just masters over certain things, like what you were saying about the guy's bigger because he the master of the corn or something. He knew how to grow corn. Well, if somebody knew how to train up birds, and so they was like, yeah, he's the god over the birds, but it's like not even a true thing. It's like more like an idiom to them to show, like, if you want your bird trained, go to the Ak over there. You know what I'm saying? He'll help you train your bird. That's a thought, though.
Mm-hmm. No, true. And you know what? I see in the chat, they were called the Olympians. One of you correct me if I'm wrong, but is that the same thing that they try to say that the Olympics are? Like some type of tribute to that? Do any of you know? I don't know. I'm just asking. I know the Greeks had a big thing in like the first gyms. I know you see that in the Maccabees where like working out in gyms and physique was.
Yeah, originally, yeah, the Olympics games are originally like tribute to gods
See how
from
we done made that common?
going all the way back to the Greeks.
See how we done made that common? And look, you see a big difference in our people because Paul and them was like, nah, we ain't them. But today, we enjoy being that. I can now remember his name, the running back from Texas. He was real good back in the day. He went to the Rams. He got hurt like the first year. He never became as good as they thought he would be. I remember seeing this 30 for 30. But the dude said after he got hurt, when he was trying to make his comeback, he was in his garage working out in Texas. He had a gym put in his garage. And when he went in there, he was like all big and strong. And dude likened him to like Zeus. Said when he walked in, he thought he seen Zeus or Hercules or one of them. We throwed him around the Olympics. You know, the irony of the Olympics. I really never thought about that. But the irony of the Olympics being associated as a tribute to the gods is who always go to the Olympics and shine the most? Paul and Barnabas, Israel. Whether it be Usain Bolt, Simone Biles, Michael Jordan, them with the Dream Team. Every year at the Olympics, who comes out as the big Jesse Owens? Every year at these Olympics, as they celebrate they gods, right? Israel always comes up, is the one who goes to shine. that I never even really fathomed that, but that is so interesting.
Hey,
Go ahead.
you know they performed the Olympics to impress Zeus. They performed the Olympics to intimidate their competitors in the nude. All of the Olympic things were done in the nude.
True.
The original Olympics. That's why they're going back to it now. Look at it. Look at them now. The clothes is tight and skinny, and you know.
Agreed.
Wait, are you serious? They running around the stadium. Wow.
Yeah, look it up. I just looked it up before I brought it up. Look it up. It's crazy, man. But look at us now in sports. It's like it's pretty much naked.
True. That's
volleyball, track, swimming.
No, true. Even baseball and football, them tights they out there playing in. Basketball, they used to play in tights, but them young Negroes got on. What's funny about basketball is they was tight shorts. Then we had the 90s where Weber and the Fab Five brought baggy shorts. And now in the 2020s, these young boys is back wearing tight shorts with spandex up under them. The tight shorts is back in.
Yeah, I peeped that. Yep.
You are correct. Another point to your point is when you go see like all of these old Roman and Greek statues that they take back from the 2000s, it's always some naked man with his private parts above some head of some children, or the half naked woman with her breast showing and her whatever they call it, half on her. And they have plenty of examples that is their culture. So I definitely understand what you mean about them going to perform in the nude. And all of that is being said because When they got to calling Paul and them that, Paul like, no, we ain't them folks. Is you crazy? No, Paul gonna be like, no, don't do that like that. Don't compare us to them. But we live in a world that has made this common. Not even knowing we celebrating fallen angels. We celebrating demigods, which would be Nephilim, which the world was destroyed behind these folks. And it ain't just Roman and Greek culture. You got the Norwegian culture with Thor and Odin, and same difference. A lot of, and I can't speak of every, because you got a lot of different cultures. These cultures, I know the Hindus have their gods. I don't know if their gods was mating with the women and having children, but I know like Thor and all of them was partook in this, like the more mainstream, I guess, of mythology. That's the word I'm looking for, but. Because you have a lot of mythologies. I don't know if it happens in all mythology, but it definitely happens. Verse 13, then the priests of Jupiter, the priests of Zeus, I think they should have put Zeus here. This scripture would have hit harder if they would have put Zeus here, because more people could have, a lot of people, and if you into this, you kind of know that Jupiter and Zeus are the same, but everybody, the way they force Zeus on you in these movies and cartoons and all this mythology, Zeus would have hit harder if they would have put that this is the equivalent of Zeus here, which was before the city. So the priests of Zeus were at the gate of the city. I'm assuming this is the gate of the city in my mind. This is the scene I see. And they brought oxen and garlands unto the gates and would have done sacrifice with the people. They about to do a sacrifice to Zeus because Zeus is walking around in the flesh. And I think Hermes is Zeus's son, but I think his mother is might be like Athena or one of them or something crazy. Aphrodite. I don't know. I might be jumping mythologies. I don't know them like that. But they were going to do a sacrifice to Zeus because of what Yah has done through Paul in helping a man walk who hadn't walked since he was born. Which when the apostles, Barnabas and Paul, or Shaul, Barnabas and Shaul heard of, they rent their clothes and ran in among the people crying out and saying, sirs, what are y'all doing? Why do you these things? That ain't what Shaul said. He ran over there and was like, what is you heathens out here doing, man? No, that ain't what we do. We also are men of like passions with you. No, I'm not Zeus. He ain't Hermes. We just men, just like you. We ain't the gods. And preach unto you that you should, and the irony is Negroes don't even do this to, everyone, I have to be fair though. I can't think of who I've seen do this, but every once in a while you'll see a sports show, and because I've seen some Negroes do this, you'll see a sports show and somebody, Skip Bayless, which is one of the more popular sports show people. He is very, I don't know what somebody done did. No.
I accidentally touched something. I hope I didn't mess nothing up.
No. Hey, you threw off my train of thought. That's about it. We can get that back.
Skip Bayless.
Yeah,
What about
you
Skip Bayless?
accidentally click whiteboard. My teacher used to do it all the time. We used to use whiteboard. So when you click it, it takes over the screen.
I'm sorry.
I didn't even know you could do that. I just learned something. Hallelujah. But no, Skip Bayless is good for saying the gods when it comes to sports. And I've seen a Negro or two before who would be like, ain't no sports gods. And I've seen like people who say that on TV be like, well, that's your opinion. It ain't about it. So I say that because Paul and them standing on it. But today, Negroes just accept that. A lot of us even say that. These sports gods, sports is like one of the biggest idols for Black men in America. I can't speak for everywhere else, but for Israelites in America, sports has a strong hold on us. Sports, rap, well, I say women first, the lust of women first, then sports and rap, sadly. But I have seen a Negro before on TV be like, no, ain't no football gods. Ain't no this and that, guys. Matter of fact, I think it was Chris Broussard. I'd have heard him say that because he's a devout Christian, but he had enough sense to say that before. So it just go to show you the difference in Israel today. Because Paul and them are like, no, we just men. And we preach unto you that you should turn from these vanities unto the living Elohim, the Most High Yah. He is the only one, which made heaven and earth and the sea and all things that are therein. And you know, the irony of them saying that, if you know the story of the Greek gods, I don't even believe that they say like Zeus and all of them created the world. They just kind of like here reign. I don't even know their stories of creation. But he let them know, no, we believe the one who created that. If Zeus and them are the sons of God, or the sons of Elohim from Genesis 6 that fell, we believe in the one that created them, is what Paul said, who in time past suffered all nations to walk in their own ways. The reason why you got these little g gods is because when he saw that this world wanted to be away, y'all stepped back and left men to their own desires. And in their own desires, the demons and the fallen angels came in and created these stories. I heard the Epic of Gilgamesh spoken earlier on the thing. If you know the Epic of Gilgamesh, that story, Gilgamesh, I think Gilgamesh was the man. He was like a king, and he ran with like a beast in the woods. And the gist of that story was him and that beast in the woods was trying to kill, I don't want to say Yah, because it doesn't put it like that, but they were trying to kill God, as they were saying it in the story. So like, you know, you get those stories because when Yah left men to their own desires, the fallen angels and the demons came and filled in a story. And in that story, for example, I know that in the mythology about Odin and Thor and all of that nonsense, the giants, which we know were Nephilim and Yah destroyed the world about, are the good guys. And the so-called gods, Thor and Odin and whoever else, I don't know them all, are like the bad guys. And the giants at a time were fighting against them for control of the world. And I know that from a video game. This is why we got to watch what our kids do, because I never knew nothing about that until I played a certain video game that taught you that as the storyline of a video game. And I never played the game again, ironically. And that game was actually kind of fun, but I'm like, I don't really want to learn about all of that, right? We get all of those stories because in time past, Shaul is telling them, you got that story because the Most High Yah, the one who in his authority, we have healed this man because he fell back from this world and he allowed man to walk in his own ways. And when he did that, Zeus, who you calling us, they filled in the blanks of this story with the demons for you all. And this is how you got these mythologies, whether it be the old Sumerian and the old Thoth and what's their name? Ra, all that Egyptology, same difference. This is how you got them stories, is what Paul is telling them. But nevertheless, he left not himself without witness, but he left some witnesses to let you know that he is the one above all things. What was his witnesses? In that he did good. His witness, he gave you rain. Zeus can't claim that. Egypt learned that, right? Because Egypt had a god of rain. Egypt had a god of the Nile. Egypt had a god of the land, little g gods, right? I once knew their name, Net and Noon. And Egypt had a god of Ra, was the sun god in Egypt, right? And my Elohim, Paul is telling them, when he came to judge Egypt, he knocked the sun out for 3 days while Ra couldn't cut it back on, right? Egypt had a god of the locusts, these cicadas. I know y'all around here hearing them cicadas. Every time you hear the cicadas, the first thing I think is, can you imagine being in Egypt when y'all covered that land with locusts, cicadas, and how loud it was? I heard some cicadas out somewhere the other day. It was so loud. And I thought, can you imagine if these cicadas was on every building in people's houses? Egypt had a god of locusts, little g, and Yah brought the locusts there. Why couldn't their God get rid of the locusts? See, this is how Paul is explaining this to them. He gave you rain. It be droughts. If your God control the rain and you sacrifice it and praying to him, why is there a drought? Right? He gave us fruitful seasons. Egypt had a God over the land, little g. Egypt had a God that was over the crops. What did Yah do? He rained fire from there. He told them, man, bring everything in from the field, right? He said, bring everything in from the field. Whatever you don't bring in, it's going to die. That's what Moses told him. Pharaoh and them said, man, I cannot think of that God's name. I once did a read about the gods of Egypt that Yah, because remember in Exodus chapter 12, Yah said, I'm going to bring judgment upon Egypt and her gods. He didn't say I'm going to judge Egypt and her gods, little g. And he did. And he did. If these gods that you liken this to is so powerful, this is what Paul is telling these people in Lycaonia. If these gods that you celebrate is so powerful, then why couldn't they stop all of the crops being devoured? And then Yah destroying the crops with fire and brimstone. Yah destroyed all of the cattle that you had in the field. What's her name? She actually kind of popped one of their popular little G gods from Egypt. The one who's over the cows, the one who the ox was made for. They were worshiping when Israel got into the wilderness. They made the golden calf. I cannot remember her name, and she's one of the famous ones that you see mentioned in a lot of these movies. It ain't Aphrodite.
Isis.
It ain't Isis either. Isis is Ra's wife, who had Horus, and they try to use that to say the story of Hamashiach was stolen from Egypt because they had Horus and all of this, but it's a whole different story. But anyway, this is what Paul is telling them. I could see him using Egypt as an example here too. Like because that story is widely known. It's written in the history books at this time. You know this happened. Filling our hearts with food and gladness. Our Elohim does this. You have gods that's over this, yet when you go without this, you make these sacrifices to do all that, and your little g gods can't bring them back. So in so many words, Paul is like, so because of that, don't do no sacrifice down here for no Zeus because of what we done did up here. You need to just praise Yah. You need to just praise the living Elohim of heaven and earth. And that's a good point for today, because once again, everything that happens today, that's not without calling it a god naturally, but we know that these things are worshipped like little g gods, right? Everything today, be it science, religion, or whatever else, all of the glory that should be given to Yah is given to everything else. Technology, AI, NASA, and so on and so forth. And Paul is like, no, we serve the Elohim who controls the rain, who makes sure that the seasons produce the food, who makes sure that who fills our heart with food and gladness. Verse 18. And with these sayings, scarce restrained they the people. Scarce meaning they were still kind of like, yeah, whatever. But they did not do the sacrifices. And you know what? As I read this the other night, I thought to myself, had they told Paul, you know what? We gonna sacrifice anyway. Y'all might have threw a lightning bolt down and killed them folks for doing that at that moment to make the point to everybody else around. No, I really ain't that. we know he will do that, right? I really ain't that. I know we discussed, I don't know when it was. We've had so many discussions now. It might have been a Tuesday, might have been a Shabbat. Paul uses nature to speak about the glory of Yah. And why does he do that? Because nature has been the same since the beginning. Rain comes in its season. The seasons become fruitful the same as the beginning, right? And even with that now, what do we do now to give men more, to make men feel like little g gods? Now, you know, men control the weather now. When there's a storm, China has a machine and they send in hurricanes to America, which is like the silliest thing. Like, I do believe that they contain the ability to maybe put one cloud in the sky and try to produce rain. But when you see these super hurricanes, ain't no man controlling that. You know, these earthquakes in diverse places now, as America got a machine, they did that. If they even trying now to take that from Yah. And Yah's like, nah, I'm gonna do something so incredible. I'm gonna black out the sun for 3 days and 3 nights. I'm gonna make it where you can't even take credit for it because the people who got the machine to do it, they're gonna be under darkness too. I ain't even gonna let them cut the TV on to take no credit. But we even live in a time where they're trying to take the credit for the things that Shaul is saying right here. We live in a time now where man is trying to take that credit. No, through machines and under lights, we can grow food. We don't even need the sun no more. We don't need rain. We don't need fruitful seasons. No, we don't need that no more. And this is what Paul is telling them. No, I serve the Elohim who is in control of all of that. This man walks because of his faith in the Most High Yah, not Zeus, not man, machine, science, medicine. Sometimes we get too caught up into that. No, I don't know. That ain't who did this. It was the Elohim of Israel. It was the Elohim of Isaac, Jacob, and Yaakov. Of Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov. It was the Elohim who established this covenant with these Israelites who I'm down here talking to, who trying to use y'all to run me out these cities. It was that Elohim that made this man stand on his feet. And it wasn't the gods. It wasn't the sports gods. It wasn't the, and whatever else gods. There's so many. People worship so many different things. It wasn't money. People have made money a little g god. No, every time I hear them say $100 billion has been dedicated to fight climate change, I always think, how is money going to stop a storm? How is money going to stop an earthquake? How is money going to stop a volcano? Think about that when you're watching the news and they say, in this last bill, they set aside $100 million to combat climate change. How? If you telling me that the earth is getting hotter, this is their words, the earth is getting hotter, the polar ice caps and probably the North Pole as well is melting. It's causing the sea level to rise. To one day, certain cities that sit below sea level are going to disappear. How is money going to stop that? Even money is worshipped like a god. Money can do everything. Negroes fall victim to that. Money can do everything. And Paul is like, no, I follow an Elohim. We follow a supreme authority that do that. You all follow a supreme authority that does everything. Now, he may bless you with something to help you do what you're trying to do, but we give glory to the Most High Yah. We don't worship money, and we don't worship all these other things that are now worshipped on the earth. Cell phones are worship. People will come to blows fighting over their Apple and Android God. My text is blue, yours green. Ugh. Boy, you'll see somebody get to fighting over Apple and Android because it has become a god in people's life. It has become an idol. It has become something that is worshipped. Patrick, you got something? I see your mic came on, Maybe not.
That was an accident. Sorry.
Shabbat Shalom. How you doing?
Shabbat Shalom. I'm good. Kids are napping, so I'm just listening in.
Hallelujah. I just find it interesting that it said scarce here too before I move on. With difficulty, with much work. After Paul scolded them and he said, he probably said that much different than I said it, but I believe he said something in like manner. It still was like, they was like, yeah, we should still do our sacrifice. And Paul was like, no. What turned around and happened? As all this then took place, I don't know if it was the same day or later. And there came thither certain Israelites. Think of that word Jews again, boy. These people gonna make you, that these people gonna make you honor them folks over there, man. That's a ploy. The way that word is used is a ploy to make you honor them folks over there. And there came to this place certain Israelites from Antioch and Iconium, the places where we just left. Mind you, Paul, he didn't, these people weren't feeling him. It was people who were feeling him, but the masses were like, no, you got to come from down here talking like that. And it started with Israel in this area. Not because Paul wasn't teaching Torah. Paul is teaching Torah. Shaul is teaching Torah to these folks. But we not following Torah in the name of some Messiah that you claiming, Paul. We just seen you have people killed and thrown in prison for saying that so-called Messiah name. And now you trying to come up here and tell us that we need to do this in the name of this Messiah. No, Paul, we not finna do that with you, Shaul. And these Israelites came from the two spots that Shaul is coming from, saying, who persuaded the people, or they persuaded the people, having stoned Shaul. Shaul got stoned. Ain't that crazy? Shaul got stoned out here doing this work. And they drew him out of the city, supposing he had been dead. Not only did they stone him, they had him thrown out the city, supposing he had been dead. And this goes back to the point. Some of you got old friends and acquaintances and even family, as you have begun to say you don't eat pork. And it be the most simple things. You don't celebrate Christmas, you don't eat pork. Ugh, you ain't welcome through here no more. It can be the most simple thing with some of our folks. The Messiah is black. Some of you got relatives, you go in their house, they got the European Jesus pictures on all of the walls, and you like, his name ain't Jesus, he y'all sure, that's a black man, get out. And don't come back through here disrespecting Jesus. You can't even welcome. These is Paul's old friends. These same Israelites who doing this with Shaul is the same ones who was just loving him when he was running the disciples out of Jerusalem and coming up here like, remember he was headed to Damascus, like, let me go up there and find them folks up there talking about in the name of Yahushua. I'm bringing them back to stand trial. They can go to jail. They was loving him. Same folks. Now that he said he ain't celebrating Christmas no more, they like, nah, Shaul. They didn't hit him with stones. They didn't hit some of you with stones spiritually. We all got to reap what we sow. Shaul is reaping what he sowed. You done built this up. Shaul, you was the poster boy of this. This mentality they got, you have helped these folks in flourishing in this mentality. These same folks now want you dead, Shaul. What you gonna do? They done stoned you and threw you out the city. Verse 20. Howbeit, as the disciples stood around about him, he rose up. I know it bothers some of y'all that certain people that used to be in your life don't speak to you, don't want nothing to do with you no more. I say that so plainly because almost every Israelite I ever met had got at least somebody. But you still got to stand up and rise up. You still got to endure to the end. It's a lot of things we did in our life that we now, even though that we in Torah, we still have to reap the benefits of certain things. We still have to reap what we sow. That does not change because you find Torah. That's law. And no matter who you is, you got to reap what you sow. Moses did. David, the righteous David, he did. He had to reap what he sowed. He took that woman. He had Uriah killed. Yah said at the end of David's life, there has never been another king after my own heart like King David. But how did David have to spend the rest of his life? At war. He had to reap what he sowed. And he couldn't build the temple that he wanted to build. He still, but you know what he did? You know what you got to do? I got to do? We got to do? We still got to endure to the end in the word of Yah. And we still got to put our best foot forward with Yah every day. And we got to continue to repent. And we got to continue to make known the goodness of Yah, even in the tribulation. Mama Speed, a.k.a. Shaul. I see you in this, Mama Speed. A lot of this Shaul reminds me of you. What's up?
Okay, so I was thinking about everything you were saying and just even like in the truth, people sometimes don't like how you sound. People sometimes don't like they don't like your passion. They think, oh, you bit too passionate, or you got too much going on. Not right now, Miles. Not right now. So you just, you have to come to the conclusion or the resolve that you have to do what Abba Yahuwah wants you to do, because I guess I just come to the conclusion and the resolve. I just can't please everybody, and he created me and made me how he made me. And I don't make any apologies for that. And he made you how he made you. You shouldn't make any apologies for that. But there's always going to be somebody somewhere in some community, in your own community, sometimes make you want to question whether it be your passion, your truth that you have learned and what he's given to you. And it may not be for everybody, or it may be for a small group. But at the end of the day, we have to walk according to his ruach, according to his spirit, because um, there's always going to be that person or that situation or that place. It's going to make you decide either you're going to ride with the Most High and follow the script, or you're going to worry about what people say or what situations. You have to learn to abase and abound, like Shaul said. You have to, because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, we have to ask the question, did I do what I was commanded to do for his people? Hallelujah.
That's a good point too, Coach. We got it. That's the true definition of you're gonna have to endure to the end. There's some things we're gonna have to face that we did before that we don't even do no more in the truth. We're gonna have to face it. It's some relationships that's been messed up or challenged, I should say. I should know relationship I believe is messed up, but it's some relationships that have been challenged. That even though now we in the truth and I'm a different woman or a different man than I was then, we gonna have to face it. It's things that done went on, and now we look back and we like, I shouldn't have did that like that. And we can acknowledge that it wasn't what we were supposed to do. And even though you would never do it again, we gonna have to face it. And this is what Shaul is facing. Aside from it's people who used to show us all the love, we kicked it with, all that, who don't want nothing to do with you no more, just because you don't eat pork no more, just because you don't eat catfish no more. Just because you may sip a little wine, but you ain't finna get drunk and go chase skirts. I know it was like that with me and a lot of my friends. I go have a beer with the homies, right? But I ain't finna go get drunk with you and chase skirts and go to the strip club and do all the things we used to do. Just because of that, I ain't him no more. And that's cool. But you gonna have to endure to the end. You still got to endure to the end. And this is what Yah is showing us with Shaul. It ain't gonna just be easy. And we understand that. I don't even know if it's documented in Torah with all of them, but when you just read other things or just studying other things, the belief is a lot of the disciples died in jail or were killed for the word. But Yah, for some reason, is specific, and I shouldn't say some reason because it's obvious the reason. He's specifically showing us Shaul's struggle with this because we are all probably more like Shaul than any of the disciples in the fact that Shaul is coming from being like completely wrong, right? And Yah has used him to do a work. And he kind of more represents, in my opinion, I should say, because I'm sure somebody could make this point for Kepha or any of the disciples. I could make a point for Kepha, but I feel like Shaul, his life more represents us being under the doctrine of death, right? To now being all about Yah, being studied. You know, Shaul is one of the more studied peoples in Torah, to the academia of Torah, which definitely represents the awakening, because a lot of this is about the academia of it, right? Yah uses Shaul in the Acts to speak to, in my opinion, us in the situation and how this has went with us now. But even with these trials and tribulations and his old friends turning on him and him reaping what he sows, you got to think, like, a lot of these people who feel in Shaul is the same people who was like scared of Shaul. We seen that when he first woke up. They was like, don't bring him around. So what? These men said they saw the light and heard the voice and he was blind, and a lot of them was like, we still don't trust him. I'm sure after this stone and whoever didn't trust him was like, nah, he ain't pump faking it, and it almost died out. No, you know what I'm saying? Like, you ain't pump faking and you done put your life on the line to where they done stoned you. Nah, anybody who didn't believe him then, now they like, nah, he really about that. He almost died for this, right? But Shaul represents, to me, the awakening. You once wasn't about this at all. Now you all about this. And the same people who was around you loving you when you wasn't about this, now they don't feel you no more. Be it in the streets, be it in Christianity in the church, be it with your family. Some of us be it with your kids, with your mother, your father, your grandparents. But we still got to endure to the end and do this work. And that's what Paul is showing us through all of this. He'd have been stoned. He rose up. He came back into the city. And the next day departed with Barnabas. Even after they stoned him, Paul got up. They thought he was dead. He came back into the city. They probably scared of him now, though. Like, man, I seen blood leaking out his head. Dude, walking around, still preaching the word, still standing on, you Israelites up here acting like these Americans need to get this together. Ain't no European Messiah coming from you. See, when I say this all the time. And I bet Paul probably was having to say that too. Caesar can't save you. Caesar is the European Messiah that the ones who the Hellenist Israelites is believing in. Caesar, Zeus, and y'all down here, listen, man, them people can't save you. Jesus Christ ain't coming to save you. Ain't no European coming to save you. You've been here 400 years in America. There has never been a Europe. Joe Biden can't save you. Same difference. We got to endure to the end. And Shaul was back in the city saying that, like, listen, y'all can do what you got to do, but I got to continue to do this work that y'all has put before me. A Coty speed.
I just have a question for you. Now, Paul being a Benjaminite, which is a part of the tribe of Israel, why was Paul hurting the children of Israel?
Why was he what now?
Why was he persecuting his own people?
Well, he was with the Pharisees then. I believe he was, and somebody else can answer this, but my belief is it was just because he believed in the doctrine of the Pharisees so much and what they was teaching him. He was just, about it. The same way we've been, Mama Speed, when you
Right. And that's why I was saying this is so beautiful, because I was thinking, okay, so, like we had gotten so far away from what I'm talking about Paul at this time. We had gotten so far away from being a part of the tribe of Benjamin to the point where you don't even know your people. You're persecuting them.
True.
And I think that's just beautiful how you're bringing this out. I just said, well, why wasn't he, even though you go get educated and you know this and you know that, which is probably a fault of our families and stuff, but at the end of the day, you still got to stay with the truth. And I was just thinking in my head, why didn't Paul know? That's interesting to me.
No, true. But like you said, and that's a good point, because that's the point I'm trying to show. It further speaks to how we've been. I think of the old me. I've told y'all this story. I kind of really started to understand the truth a little bit in 2016, 2017, but I didn't fully start to walk in Torah until 2018. But I think about, and I say this respectfully because we know Yah can do all things, but I think about just the trajectory of my life. If you go back to like 2007 and 8, y'all couldn't have never walked up on me talking about we the people of the Bible and you need to stop what you're doing. I would have been like, please. I'm getting so much money, and what I'm out here doing, I am winning. Coming from never having nothing, like, no. But y'all knew he had to tear that man down. It was a vicious tear down too. But he had to tear that man down for me to humble myself enough. So I say that because I see the same thing in Paul. What he was doing was so right, and what he felt he was doing and he believed, you couldn't tell him no different until y'all blinded him. And then when y'all blinded him, he said, no, this is not right. I have to correct some things. And that blinding has been, I know I've talked to other people on this call where they talk about where they've come from, like even Daniel or you came, y'all, like, it was a work to get you here, and it was a work to get Paul there. And just like Shaul, some of those things we still dealing with. Some of the ways that we were before we got into this, in different forms and fashion, we still dealing with. But we got to endure to the end, just like Shaul. I know some of you occultes went through that too, but I don't like speaking to the occultes because y'all get the wilding and get to acting like I'm just standing on y'all, and it ain't like that. So I try to speak to the men. I don't need y'all feeling like I'm just on y'all. It's enough Negroes out here standing on women. I don't want to be that man. It's on you, Mama Speed. Or Aki came, y'all. I don't know which one of you were first.
Well, I'm just gonna add this in probably to answer a question. If you go to Acts, I think 5:34, I knew it was in there, and it says you just read that. It was just talking about the different false messiahs that were coming. And so this is the understanding, because Gamaliel is, you know, if we know that Shaul is a genius, this was a genius teaching him.
True.
So this doctrine was like, they're gonna be false messiahs. They ain't gonna, and almost to the point where we're just gonna deny everybody. Because if anybody come, they can't come, and they're not gonna come upset what we got going on with the Romans.
True. Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's a whole power thing, because you living good, and you living good, and you at the top of the pile as far as like Israelites, and the people in the land. And so, this is, and he just jumped in because he was hungry for really, to tell you the truth, the reason that Shaul could make it is because he had, if you go to the first chapter of John, Yah says that the word is made flesh in his son. So really, he was hungry for Yahusha.
True.
If you can understand what I'm saying, that's what got us out of these churches and out of these places, because a lot of us was hungry for Yahusha, and we was like Kojic or apostolic or whatever. But when it come down time, us trying to quit smoking these Newports and stop fornicating and stuff like that, we started reading these scriptures. We weren't really trying to see examples inside the places. We were like, man, I got to stop this. I'm scared for my soul. And so we went to the first place that we knew that was going to be telling us what we needed to do, which was Yahusha, which is the book. The Father made sure this book was translated and followed us all over the world. So when we woke up, yeah, the name's going to be wrong. A lot of stuff wrong with it. But he going to let you put the name back in it.
True.
I mean, this is an amazing thing, man, and that's kind of like how I look at Shaul. Shaul was like, he was going for it, he had gusto. He was going for it with everything he had with his teachers, but his teachers were leading him into a pit because they didn't have circumcised hearts. They were looking at the power vacuum, and don't let nobody else get in this power seat that we in. That's what they were looking at. And some message you were saying, I wanted to mention it, but people talking about the sports gods. You got a lot of Israelites talking about karma. You should never say karma.
True.
Karma is not only, we are always talking about sowing and reaping. Karma is you live this life, and then you'll come back as, it's not only you get what you get, you'll come back as something else.
Oh man.
Like I'll come back as a frog.
Oh
and
man.
so, and so people up here is like, that karma. Nah, man, don't ever say that. Don't ever say that. If you can avoid saying karma, avoid it, because that's the things you should put in place of that is sowing and reaping. That's it. That's the short of it. Just like you said, if I had children before I got married, and I'm dealing with the fact that my children feel like they didn't have a normal thing, a normal life because I wasn't with their mom, I got to reap that.
You all do. That's a fact.
It's just, I mean, but it's a part of the process of you growing closer to the Most High, and then the Father bringing your children into the Most High by you actually softening up yourself, saying, man, I see how I messed up your life, and I'm gonna always pray, and I'm gonna always allow you to vent and get that, and then ultimately it's gonna be gone from you because you're gonna see what kind of father I am right now. But it's a process that is gonna be something good come out of it. Your salvation is what's gonna come out of it, really. You hearing the Father say, well done, my good and faithful servant. You didn't let that situation, that hard field to reap, stop you from enduring to the end, as you were saying today. Hallelujah, Aki.
And that's what Shaul doing. He know it. Shaul know that, like, dang, these used to be my homies, man. Dude just hit me with a brick. You think about the feeling he had. And then the people standing over him when he wake back up is somebody who he didn't had thrown in jail before. Like, this had to be surreal for him. But to your point, he continued to endure to the end. And Gamaliel was the doctor of the law, as we see here, a Pharisee. And that does answer the question that Mama Speed had scripturally. He believed in these folks. So he was turned up to what he was believed in. He was just wrong. And a lot of us have believed in things where we didn't just been wrong. And we had to figure, y'all had to show us that it was wrong. And then once we realized it was wrong, because we live in a time where you would know something wrong, and politics is the prime example of that. People be knowing. Like right now, I heard down in Louisiana, and I know they want to do it nationwide, where they want to take free lunch off the table. Them people know Louisiana is one of the poorest states, and if you take that off the table, it's a lot of children that won't eat. They know that's wrong, but because they believe in what their political party has sold as welfare, and these people just don't want to work, they'll take that off the table and watch them kids go hungry. Mama Speed,
Man, I ain't heard that, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's like that in a lot of these states. They want to kill free lunch. Like, these people, like, who wants to? And it's always the people that's pro-life, though. You want to fight for these kids, but you quick to starve them out, though. That ain't how that go. Mama Speed, I know you had a hand up. I wasn't sure. Was it still up or?
Oh, it probably was still up. Yes, no, I didn't have anything.
Mama Speed, matter of fact, you down in Louisiana. Have you heard that they trying to kill the free lunch thing down there?
I have not heard that. But I'm not surprised because we do stuff like that. So like we're oppressed worse than anybody in this state. So no, I haven't heard it, but I'm not surprised if that's the case.
Okay, I see.
There's a new governor, and basically you have the rest of the politicians now feeling empowered since he stepped into office.
Okay.
So they're following through with Florida and Texas and
Exactly.
others doing the same types of things.
So because I just kind of heard that in passing. That's a real thing they're down there. Like, I don't know, right? I don't want to be speaking.
Yes.
Okay.
That's one of the things that's been on the books. I'm not sure if it gained any traction because several of the things, especially their attacks on DEI, actually lost a lot of traction because they asked some tough questions. But I know it's been on some of the dockets.
Okay. And Shabbat Shalom, good to hear your voice, Aki.
Same, Mark.
Yeah. Them people know that's wrong, but because it's part of whatever they're trying to accomplish, we will do what's wrong. That's just a men thing, but Shaul, endure to the end. And when they preached the gospel or the good news to that city, so Shaul, after being stoned and going through this emotional event, which I'm sure was very emotional as well as probably painful when he got hit with these bricks, but he had to do this because Shaul, you're a big part of the reason why this is like this. And you got to endure through this. And all honor, glory, and praise to the Most High for the obedience of Shaul, because we know, and looking forward in this story, he's going to endure through this. He went back in the city and preached the gospel again. I ain't scared of y'all. I know it's a scripture that says, don't fear the one who could kill the body, fear the one who can kill the body and the soul. Shaul, I think he wrote that. Matter of fact, that might be in one of the letters. Shaul is a walking example of that. I ain't scared of y'all. I'm going to do what I know I got to do. I know I'm the reason why y'all turned up like that, or I done played a part in it. I got to come in here and tell you the truth. I be thinking the same thing now when I do certain things. But it said he had taught many. Because I'm sure it was like, now it's like, man, we can't even kill him. Y'all know how our people be, man. They can't even kill him. He invincible. He can't be lying. They returned again to Lystra and Iconium and Antioch. All of the places he been ran off from, Shaul went back. I'm not scared of y'all. I understand what might be awaiting me. I know I got to reap what I sow. I personally, in my own life, I know I got to reap what I sow. But I still got to stay focused on the kingdom, going forward and doing the things that Yah has said before me, and all of you do as well. And we all reap something different. We all come from different walks of life. We all had a different mentality of different things. But just know, a lot of the tribulation that we'll speak of and go through in this, it comes from that. Find peace in knowing it was like that with our ancestors, the disciples, Shaul, and everybody else. Also find peace, strength, and encouragement in knowing that they were able to go forward and endure to the end just like we have to. Verse 22, confirming the souls of the disciples, empowering, strengthening the souls of the disciples, and exhorting them to continue in the faith. Y'all see how real it is with me? And you know, that's so funny because that's what we're talking about. He's telling them that in real time, but Yah's using this to tell us the same thing right now. Y'all see how real it was with Shaul? Some people may fall to the wayside. Like y'all said, though, continue to pray for them folks. You continue to strengthen your relationship because the prayers of a righteous man availeth much. And Yah, we have to allow Yah to bring our families back together. We have to allow, I know I told Yusuf and Yahusha and Ya'ala and them this when I seen them when they were up here. I had to get out my own way, with my granny. I had to get up out my own way with my granny. And as I got out my own way and I just prayed and trusted Yah, now me and my granny talk to her all the time. She don't necessarily rock with everything I'm saying, but the fact that we can have a discourse and a dialogue, the fact that you'll see her come to a Passover dinner was me getting out of Yah's way. And I had to trust. I know I had to do what I had to do. Exhorting them to continue in the faith. You all continue in the faith, no matter how real it get. That we must, through much tribulation, this is the reaping what you sow. We must, through much tribulation, enter into the kingdom of Yah. Everybody ain't gonna be Job. And even Job went through tribulation. The devil told Yah, he said, dude only follow you because you ain't never let me touch him. Let me touch him, I'll show you. He said, you can touch him, you just can't kill him. Killed his family. Killed Job's family and everything. He endured to the end. He never wavered. And at the end of the book of Job, it said that Yah blessed him 100-fold. New family, new wife. And he was already the richest man or one of the richest people east of the Jordan. It said he blessed him 100-fold on top of that. Through much tribulation, we got to enter into the kingdom. And when they had ordained them elders, Shaul and them like, let's pick some elders and some leaders of the believers amongst here to keep this together. They had prayed and fasted. They commended them to the Most High Yah on whom they believed. They prayed and asked Yah, strengthen these elders. It's real, Yah. Get them and keep them encouraged, keep them inspired. You know, I say that a lot to a lot of you all. That's real. It's easy because if you become discouraged or uninspired, that's when the devil creep in. And then I had you out here like, I ain't on that, or even worse. I done seen people in this Torah become discouraged, and one day he all about Yah, the next, or he all about the Messiah and blah, blah, blah. And then you see him and he non-messianic. That ain't even real. The white folks wrote the New Testament. That ain't real. Stay encouraged. They prayed. They picked some elders and asked Yah to keep them encouraged, to keep them inspired, to keep them humbled, and to keep them strong. Give them everything they need to endure to the end, because this is going to be a struggle. They're going to lose some families and friends. One of them might even get stoned. But keep them inspired, Yah. Verse 24. We're going to bring this to an end. And after they had passed through Pisidia, I believe, they came to Pamphylia. And when they preached the word in Perga, they went down into Atalia. So he's showing us that Shaul endured all of this. He stayed on course. And it ain't saying it here, but you know, it was Israelites in all these spots who was like, dude, gone, we ain't feeling you. But it was believers. And it was Gentiles amongst the Israelites who were not from the lineage of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob who believed. And he taught whoever was willing to hear. But he went to the Israelites. I think that's the key. We always got to remember, he wasn't just up here looking for Gentiles. He was going to the Israelites. And then however it went. And thence he sailed back to Antioch, from whence they had been recommended to the grace of Elohim for the work which they had fulfilled. Shaul went back to Antioch and recommended to the grace of Elohim for the work which they had fulfilled. Went and told the folks in Antioch, look, I know it's rough, especially Antioch. Sound like Antioch was one of the worst places to be, right? Man, I see y'all standing strong. The grace of Yah is upon y'all. It's the grace of Yah that's allowing y'all to fulfill this work. It's the grace of Yah that's allowing all of us to fulfill this work. Stay encouraged. And when they were come and had gathered the church together, they rehearsed all that Elohim had done with them. And the churches being the assembly, the people, Israelites and those who believe, not necessarily the church of God in Christ or whatever we calling it today. This is just the assembly of the people together that believe, the believers. They rehearsed all that Elohim had done with them and how he had opened the door of faith unto the Gentiles. The Israelites in these spots was trying to have me stoned and do this and do that. There was certain Gentiles that wanted to hear the word. And now even some Gentiles are showing faith, which Hamashiach said that in his own life. The lady said, he said, I'm here for the lost sheep. He let us know that the lady wasn't Israel. He didn't say, I'm only here for the Jews. He said, I'm here for the lost sheep of Israel. And the lady said, even the dogs get the crumbs off the kid's plate. And he said, in all Israel, I ain't seen faith like that. Go home, your daughter gonna be okay. So even Hamashiach commended some Gentiles that had faith, that weren't Israelites. We got to stop doing that today. We going against Hamashiach when we do that. He didn't do that like that. And Shaul said, it's Gentiles out here believing just like the Israelites. And some of them is believing more based off of the persecution of some of these Israelites. And there they abode a long time with the disciples, which were the believers that were in Antioch. Shaul is enduring to the end through all of this. It's the same way we all have to endure to the end. Antioch. Shalom.
Shalom. I just wanted to highlight too that how much love the Most High had for Job, and he was the descendant of Esau. So we don't know who the Most High has it in for, and so we have to move in love, and you know, like you were saying about Hamashiach and admonishing some Gentiles, we got to be careful with that as well. So I definitely agree with that, because you know, we see the scriptures as Jacob I love and Esau I hated, but it's just like, but yet Job was one of his faithful servants, and he's a descendant of Esau. So, you know, we just got to be careful with who we saying Yah is for and Yah is not for. You know what I'm saying?
True. And the way this planet done become the melting pot it is, man, don't nobody know where all this blood is at for real, man. Don't nobody know. For real. Y'all stay encouraged. I believe I seen Avaja who earlier. I believe you said it's been a trying week. You stay encouraged, Dakota. You Shaul also. Might have to reap some things that you done sowed, but you stay encouraged and endure to the end. Remember that. Any questions or comments in any of this as we've come to the end? Hallelujah. Anything anybody want to add? All I can tell you is stay encouraged. It's real out here. I know it's real. It's real in my life. It's real in y'all life. I know it. But we got to stay encouraged for sure. We done lost people. There's been a lot of losses over this time. There's been a lot of funerals. There's been a lot of losses with people who still alive. Stay encouraged. Hallelujah. And yeah, you could pray us out if you're not busy. Sound pretty quiet around you.
I'm driving, but I can pray us out. It's just me and the baby. The other children are with their father. So,
Do it if you drive.
yeah, no, I can pray. I'm about to be pulling over in like 5 seconds. So, but I'm gonna go ahead and pray us out. I'll be gone.
Hold on. Pull over first.
Okay, okay.
Once you, hey, the Ruach be that came in the car and we saw you on the news somewhere. Be cool. Hey, yo, be cool. Oh man.
They gonna talk about I seen a flying truck. It was like flying through the air.
Right.
And it was like
Slow down now. You got to pull over first. Pray for these kids in these states where they trying to kill that free lunch too. That Yah continues to feed them no matter what men do.
yeah, hallelujah. I definitely will. Yeah, I'm at a light. It's gonna be a second.
I can pray us out. Don't worry.
And
Okay.
there's no telling what they got in that food, so it may be a blessing. Either way, he said, I never seen the righteous forsaken nor his seed begging bread. So
Hallelujah.
we're not moved by it.
Hallelujah.
I've been young and I've been old, but I've never seen the righteous begging for bread. All right, I wouldn't. All right, I'm pulled over.
Hold on 1 second. Vajahu, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. I was just gonna ask if since it was mentioned in the scripture, if we could pray for our elders, because we do have elders that we acknowledge as elders in some of these assemblies, and just keep them encouraged and keep them lifted up in prayer.
Hallelujah. Will do. Will do. Pray for Vajahu as well, and y'all that she stay encouraged.
Hallelujah.
Did you pull over any y'all? Is she still here? You on mute if you talking. You on mute if you talking, Nicole T. Shabbat Shalom to everybody who came in too. I'm sorry, I was kind of mid-flight. I didn't even get to speak to all of you all, but Shabbat Shalom. Big Mike, if you still here, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna pray. And yeah, I gotta pray.
Okay,
I gotta pray. It's a few other things need to be prayed for. But Big Mike, I need to give you a call about the job, the amazing job that you did officiating KC's connection or the covenant they made before. Yeah, I kind of just got some questions I want to ask you about it all, if it's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Just give me a holler. I'm sorry, I got a lot of things going on here right now. Got a little baby around here running around here.
Man, you ain't
Yeah, he did a great job, man. He did a great job with that, man. I can tell you that firsthand.
I seen y'all on tape. I seen you open it up. I seen you say some words up there. You was clean and all that white out. I see.
Yeah, I was up there making sure I wasn't gonna make no mistakes on nobody's wedding day, man. That's what I was looking at. I was being coached by Big Mike. That made me. He was calm. He said, "You just gotta say this part. That's all you gotta do. Then pass me the papers, hold me this, hold the ring." I said, "That's all I need right there, Ike." Pink and the brain.
Praise y'all for our family. Oh, y'all's beautiful family. We appreciate everyone.
That's a beautiful thing. Hallelujah.
You say, but
What you say?
I'm asking you, came here, did he have a shea butter?
Oh yeah, you got to, we got an inside joke. I told him we're gonna all be on Zion one day with shea butter glistening, looking like brand new, forever beings. It's just a joke I got, man. But it's like, that's just about our glory. We're gonna have our glory, man. We're gonna be shining.
For sure. For sure. Hallelujah. Shabbat Shalom to everybody once again. As we humble our hearts and our minds, thank you, Aniyah, but I'm going to pray because it is a few other things that need to be prayed about. Endure to the end, Zion. And nobody said this was going to be easy, but it's worthy. And Yah smoothed it out. He don't put us through nothing that he don't know we can't get through. We are Job, ironically, and he wasn't an Israelite. Ain't that something? We are Job, and he wasn't even an Israelite. As we humble our hearts and our minds to go into prayer, first off, Abiyah, as always, we just want to give thanks as the fruit of our lips, as you say in Hebrews, is always to give thanks. And we just give thanks for everything, Father, for family, for friends, for this connection that you've allowed us to have in Torah, which is your instructions, for revealing to us that the instructions are still important and not something to be looked over. We come to you today, Abiyah, humbly to say, as always, that we need help. We realize that we can't do this on our own. Even though you have made Israel a strong people, part of the fall of our people was because of the strength that you've given us. We started to believe that we could do this on our own. And then when you stepped away from us, now we realize once again, as our ancestors once knew, we could not do this on our own. And we just ask for your help, Abiyah, your help with our children, our families, what's going on at work, in traffic, all situations. We need your help with what to wear in the morning and what to eat at night, when to go to sleep, when to take a shower, Abiyah. We just need your help in all things. I humbly ask that you continue to bless Avajahu and Akdidamus and their household and their family, that you continue to have mercy on their family and be patient with their family and strengthen them and encourage them in Torah and encourage them to go on, to go forward and to be the mighty men and the mighty women of Zion that you have called them to be. I pray also for Ak, Big Mike, and Ebony, as Ebony has surgery coming up, Abiyah. Same with Ak Obadiah when his surgery is situated, that you guide all procedures, that you open and close all doors, that your divine presence is upon the doctors and the nurses and anybody who has to have any contact or any say or any doings with your sons and your daughters, that you continue to protect them, Abiyah, that you continue to bless them, Abiyah, that you continue to help them in all things, because we do need your help. We thank you for Ak Shaul, Abiyah, and to be able to understand the truth about Ak Shaul, for he is one of the most misconstrued of all of our ancestors in the breakdown of your instructions. But we thank you, if we don't take nothing else from his story or from any of his letters, that we know that through all trial and tribulation, that the losing of old friends and family for your word, as you say, the one who's willing to lose his life for me, he'll live. And the one who won't lose his life for me and tries to protect his life, they owed him and what he has been, he will die. And we know that as we lose old friends and family for you, lose old acquaintances, we lose job opportunities, some of us, for we don't even want to work for them if they won't allow us to keep the Shabbat, no matter how much it's worth. That as we all, even in truth, as we have come so far and have changed our lives, but we all still got to reap what we sowed. And we can't just run from who we were, but that we can meet it head first, the same way Shaul did. And we will stay encouraged, we will stay inspired, and we will endure to the end, because we understand that you are with us. And no matter what happened, you will not allow anything to happen that you have not built us for. And that as long as we can humbly come before your throne as we do today and ask for help, you will always help the righteous. I pray, Abiyah, that you forgive us all of our sins, knowing and unknowing, that there is always hiccups around, but that in your patience and your mercy, that you will chastise us and correct us as need be, understanding you chastise whom you love, and that you will put it on our hearts to correct some things, no matter what those things may be, physical actions, mentalities, attitudes, whatever. Help me with my patience, Abiyah. You done brought me so far, but I can be more patient. Help me with my anger, which I'm not an angry person, but it happens. I pray that you continue to extend your long arm that is never, as the scriptures say, your arm is always extended to Israel. We thank you for that. And I pray that you continue to extend that arm to show us the correct way forward, Abiyah, to guide us and allow your son, the light of this world, to continue to be the light that lights our path. Help us to keep our eyes focused on your mark. And let your righteousness be what is the guide and light of our lives. I pray that as I decrease, and anybody who heard this or will hear this later, you will increase. The want to know more about you will increase. The drive to do better in you for those of us who have learned a little bit about you will increase. And that no matter what happens, we'll just stay focused on you, Abiyah. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in the Shemayim. And I just pray that if it be your holy will, that your Torah continue to be fulfilled in our lives. In the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, our Messiah, our King, and our kinsman Redeemer, we pray all things. Hallelujah and amen.
Hallelujah. Amen. Amen.
Hallelujah.
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 All
Amen.
esteem to Abiyahu.
Hallelujah.
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 Shalom, family.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat
shalom.
Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
Shabbat
shalom.
shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.